republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bill Reinhardt.
Here.
Councilmember Vice Mayor Bill Earl.
Here.
Mayor Matt Watkins.
Here.
Councilmember Larry McConnell.
Present.
And Councilmember Rick Johannes.
Here.
Public comments.
Sure, yeah, that's fine. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Casey. I'm with Congressman Tim Walberg's office. I've been here since last year. It's been a little bit, but it's good seeing you all. Just wanted to provide you with a few updates on what's been going on in Washington, as well as our activities in the district. So Congressman Walberg, as many of you know, he works on Education and Workforce Committee and Energy and Commerce as two main committees. In the last few months, we've done a lot of work in calling presidents of many of our Ivy League schools and institutions in front of Congress for questioning pertaining to a lot of issues with anti-Semitism on our campuses. This has been in the forefront of the media the last 2 months. We're continuing to push back on what we've seen on these college campuses, and we also had the Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, in front of committee a few weeks ago. Tim was able to press him on enforcement of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, and up to that point, Cardona had failed to stage any investigations into what was going on in Columbia. So we're going to continue to bring him forward and make sure that they are executing the law as it needs to be. We also had the new Department of Labor Secretary in front of Education and Workforce as well. Since they have taken office, they're looking at phasing out associate health plans. This was a practice that was done under the Obama administration, and this has detrimental effects to small businesses and works to the advantage of large corporations. So we're not happy about that, and we're continuing to push back on that. Energy and Commerce Committee, we had Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm in front of us. I'm sure you're all familiar with her. Asking her questions about what's going on with the lack of electric vehicle chargers that they spent millions of dollars to have put in place. There hasn't been one built by the federal government to date, as well as some of their new regulations pertaining to liquefied natural gas exports. They're looking to completely ban our export of liquefied natural gas, which is one of America's strongest energy exports. And we're seeing our allies in the Middle East and Europe are all struggling with energy, and the more of it that we can sell, the cheaper we can produce it for ourselves here as well. So pushing back on that as always. In district, we had Tim out to survey the tornado damage in the county on Friday. Thank you for the sheriff and the other sheriff for working with us on that, taking us around. We did a tour of Schmidt's Foam recently in Coldwater. That's a big expansion that they have going on there. Last week I met with Bronson Fire Chief Scott Wilbur, talked about everything going on in the township, city of Bronson, and we've been working with Mr. Mersman and Patrick on possible grant. We're continuing to be optimistic about that, and we should have some bigger news coming Friday as well. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. So that's all I have for tonight. I have too many questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Any other public comments?
Thank you, I appreciate it. 2 minutes of your time, I'll make this quick. On the new jail report, nothing new to report, everything's going well. We've had no issues, no problems. All the systems are running great, so fingers crossed, everything's going good. Old jail, looks like the county has put out the RFPs on that. We have seen some activity up there, so they're getting ready to, we're going through it to find out what it's gonna cost to tear down and put the bids on. So hopefully that's gonna get done this year. On the correction side, not much new to report. On the patrol side, March 17th, the deputy that was hired off the street as part of the 6th night patrol folks at the county mass, he's gone through his FTO and he is now on patrol. On April 1st, we went to new green Class B uniforms. We did that because the brown dye is getting harder to get. We couldn't get our uniforms for like 6 to 8 months before we would get them if we ordered them. So we had, as most sheriff's departments are doing now, they're changing down to a different color. They're gonna keep the brown as their Class A where they go to court. They'll wear either a black, some of them are going to black, blue, and we went to green. We went to green because green was the original color of the Bronson County Sheriff's Office back in the 50s, early 50s. They came out with a uniform. So we went with that to stay with the tradition. On April 24th, the Village of Quincy contacted us. We're going to assist them with providing services until they can put it together and get their department back together and operational. So we're backing them up. On April 28th, Michigan State Police went from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. only. We used to get some of their officers once in a while on the day shift to kind of help out, but that's now just going to be 5 to 5. It's going to work out okay for us because we have these extra people coming in now. On 5/6, 2 tornadoes hit Branch County in the Sherwood area. There is extensive damage. I don't know if any of you have been up there or not, but our drone team was called in to help survey the damage, and even though the National Weather Service brought their own, they saw ours and said, hey, you guys are doing a much better job than we could do. Can we continue to use you? So we used our drone throughout the whole survey. So the National Weather Service did find from that survey that there were actually 2 tornadoes that hit up in that area. So it was nice praise for our people. We were happy to be able to do it. On May 9th, 2 deputies graduated from the academy. On May 10th, one started his FTO program and the second started her FTO program this morning. So that's 3 of the 6 deputies are hired. 2 are being interviewed right now and getting ready for academy, and then we have 1 more to bring in. Several victim services has been busy with fires and death reports. Marine Patrol border safety classes are now on our Facebook page, so if anybody needs a border safety class, just get on our Facebook page. I think there's like 5 or 6 that are available to attend. May 4th, Marine Patrol began getting their boats and buoys ready for the season. New laws, for 23, the county commission passed an ORV ordinance. The townships can either go with it, adopt their own, or opt out. It does not cover cities or villages. So that does not cover you folks. You have your own golf cart. If you want to do an ORV, you have to do your own. Sheriff's Office, our first quarter report, 2,936 complaints were handled by the Sheriff's Office, 233 traffic stops, 59 property damage accidents, 7 personal injury accidents, 101 car deer for that quarter. 8 B&Es, 24 domestic abuse calls, 10 assaults, 9 larcenies, 104 arrests, and we booked 311 people through the jail last quarter. For the village, actually, the city here, I'm sorry, total complaints were 55, and the most serious was the domestic. I think you guys were tied up, and so we helped out there. Top calls were assist other agencies, which would have been your department. We assisted 14 times last quarter. We had 1 fight and 1 suspicious call that we helped with. Traffic stops 21 outside the county, it was actually outside the conciliable ways. Property checks none, nothing on the rest of that. And last but not least, drug drop-off box. Last quarter, we took in 148 pounds of pills. You know, so
Wow.
we're well on our way to being over last year's 400 pounds.
Wow, that's good, it's getting off the street.
Yeah, not out there wandering around. That's my report, anyway, unless anybody has a question.
I just wanted to say, the wife and I stopped in there to see John a couple weeks ago, and I'm telling you how impressive that is over there. Just the training room, the conference room, just high tech. I couldn't even get it, you know, just how great it is.
Everybody likes it but the inmates. Not as free to roam around as it used to be.
Sheriff, you've got one question here, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just curious about your drug drop-off box. Do you guys keep or take account of what specific types of drugs are dropped off and kind of keep a tally on that all together, or is it just a generalized number?
It's just a generalized drop-off.
I feel like it would be nice for the communities to hear how specific it could get sometimes, whether it be narcotics or non things. I think that would be a big side of the brothers and
It
community.
would be very extensive because there's no limit on what you can turn in.
Oh,
Other than it can't
understandable.
be liquid or anything like that. So, and many times we don't get the prescription, we just get the pills in a bag.
Oh,
And sometimes they don't even put the bag in there, they just dump the pills in.
interesting.
Those
Those are also details that are good to hear. Also good details to hear. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? All right, thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Rick Hollister, and I'm running for the county commission position from District 4, which includes Bronson Township, Noble, Gilead, Kinderhook, and around to Oak. It skips Bethel from here. It runs the horseshoe around. So threw my hat in the ring, and I just wanted to give you a little background on myself. I'm happy to say I grew up here in Branch County, went to Bronson schools. A couple of years ago, I graduated. I was honored to, back in my high school days, I was elected as a state officer in the Future Farmers of America. I was part of the class that completed the first full 2 years at the Branch Area Career Center. If you know how old that school is, you know how old I am. Because we weren't the first class to go in, but we were the first class to complete the full 2 years. I did an ag business class. I grew up on a farm. Early 80s was a little tough on the farm, and we decided to stop doing that. And I found myself in the grain business in 1983. Lived here, bought a house here in town. Served on the planning commission for a while in Bronson. And the grain business then, within a year, moved me to Lansing, and then moved us within another year to Toledo. So I moved my family around a bit, working for the regional cooperative at the time as a grain originator, grain merchandiser, talking to farmers and buying grain for the first 4 or 5 years. I left that company, started my own business with a friend of mine that we were doing a marketing consulting business, futures brokerage business in the mid-'80s, late '80s. The Andersons came along and wanted to own our business, so we sold it to them at the time, and we all went to work for a company called the Andersons. It's based in Maumee, Ohio. Have grain elevators scattered throughout Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, and most recently Idaho, Louisiana, and New York. So I spent 33 years with the Andersons in various positions. Grain originations at White Pigeon. I lived in town here. And ended up over there. When we first built our ethanol plant in Albion, I was selling distillers grain out of there, so got some exposure to how you start a new business. Again, I started my own company, started up and then sell it, shut it down. This was a new entity to the company. This was a new entity. Nobody in our business, in our organization, had ever done this before. And so my job was to just hit the bricks and talk to farmers with livestock all day. As much as I could catch them anyway, see if we could get them interested in this co-product that I was selling. So we did that for a year. We started our second ethanol plant in Indiana. I went down and set that truck market up down there too. And then our third plant, 3 years, we started 3 ethanol plants. And so I was in Greenville, Ohio for part of the week. So I'd make a circuit each week on the road and selling this co-product out of our ethanol plants. Then I got hired back into the grain origination side, but as a manager for grain originations efforts here in southern Michigan. Moved back to Bronson, and then we bought a place out here on Duesenberry Road. And in the early 2000s, I was managing all the grain originations for White Pigeon. We bought the reading elevator in 2008, so again started with a new business. Plus the Albion ethanol plant, I had 9 employees at the time, all about grain buyers, hiring, firing, and all that comes with it as a manager. So had some experience that way. While I was here, other than the commission, the planning commission, I was also on the Bronson FFA alumni, executive committee, and president for a bit. I served on the Branch County 4-H Foundation board for 6 or 7 years during that time as well, and to be the chairman of that board, who administers all the donated money to the 4-H in the county, gets spread back out through the foundation. And also been a member of Bethel Community Church here on Block Road since 1998. Been in the council there since 2002, I think. I can't really remember. Currently serve as a treasurer there at Bethel for the last 14 years. My last couple of stints with the Andersons, I helped with mergers and acquisitions. We bought 4 grain elevators in the Saginaw Valley. Auburn Bean and Grain was the name of it. I went up and helped with the integration on that, setting the business up, getting employees on all the Andersons benefits programs and those things. And then a couple years later, we bought the Lansing Trade Group, which had grain elevators, origination entities in Idaho and Louisiana and New York. So then I was on the road for most of each week, maybe home one week that I wasn't traveling, helping set up our programs in those elevators there too. So really interesting opportunity for me. Hopefully, since I've now retired from the Andersons last October, wouldn't want to get bored. So I throw my hat in the ring here. Let's see, in the meantime, I did also serve on the Michigan Ag Business Association, which is an association of grain elevators and agribusinesses in the whole state of Michigan, feed companies as well. I ended up to be a chairman. Actually, when COVID first broke in 2020, I was the chairman of the board of the Michigan Ag Business Association, which is somewhat political, but also we represent our organizations, our supply organizations to a lot of government agencies. We worked with the Secretary of State when all their offices shut down. You couldn't get a license, remember? In 2020, we worked with them to get our folks that are part-time drivers hauling fertilizer out to the spreaders, the tender guys, need a license every year to do that. They get a temporary 1 year and then it elapses. And with our offices shut down, we were going to be shut down because we couldn't get the fertilizer out to the field where it belongs. So we worked with the Secretary of State and made some arrangements there, helped make some arrangements so that we could mass some meetings at each office when we needed to get folks in there to get them certified. So just a couple of things that I've been exposed to. I'm also on the Gilead Lake Association board out there, been there 3 years, and I'm currently serving as treasurer. I guess that's about it, unless there's any questions. I think our county has some challenges right in front of us. We have a new jail. We will have a new sheriff. As unfortunately, John is calling it quits. I understand it at the end of the year. But we're going to miss John for sure. So we have a job to find a new sheriff. Of course, the election's coming up. And then with the new jail, then we also have a new county manager as well, since Bud Norman is retiring also at the end of the year. So a lot of challenges at the county level that I think are interesting and can be really exciting, I think, for our county. Appreciate you guys' efforts to keep the city going, and looking forward to working with you, and maybe I'd ask for support with a little prayer and a little cash if you have extra. All right, any questions? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other public comments? On to the consent agenda. Any questions, concerns on the consent agenda? Have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? New business, 2024-25 fiscal year budget presentation.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. As required by the city charter, I am to present a draft of the 2024-2025 budget for your review. This budget projects a $1.7 million general fund expenditure and has a projected deficit of roughly $304,600. The budget includes expenses related to the collection system improvements through the state revolving loan funds, $3.3 million for construction costs, and $678,000 in engineering expenses for the upcoming budget year. Also includes a couple staff additions, is budgeted for potentially adding an assistant to the city manager position, a staff assistant type of position. And as we've talked about several times, the fifth police officer. In major streets, there's $50,000 for street maintenance, and major streets will need to transfer $200,000 to local streets. We'll get to that in a second. Local streets, $75,000 for street maintenance, and $175,000 for potential Compton Street road project with new curb, gutter, sidewalk, and lead service line replacements. Look for a resolution of support on this MDOT Category B grant, which would pay up to 50% for road, curb, gutter, and sidewalk ramp. also be on the June agenda. Possible approval would be continuing where we redid the road on part of Common Street and taking it over to Madison Street. This is an area that's pretty rough, in need of upgrades. It also includes $85,000 for materials to replace lead galvanized service lines using our crew as they have time. We were able to replace 2 in the last week and a half or so. Those are full replacements. We have from the DWAM grant that we received, good numbers on where we believe the replacements on the public side, private side are going to be based on the age of the home and confirmed through potholing as well as inside materials that were confirmed by DPW when they did the water meter replacements. So we have a really good database to go on. Joe would be starting with sort of partial replacements, talking from the water main to the curb box or the private side, the curb box to the house. I'd like to tackle those first. In my packet, you have the draft fiscal year 25 budget and budget memo. Budget does not include or show the FY 24 projected numbers, or projected fund balance numbers, as those will be completed as we get closer to the end of the fiscal year. Also mentioned that the budget includes a roughly 3.5% wage increase for employees. That can be adjusted based on council feedback. Are there any questions at this point?
Sounds like it's flowing pretty good. Because
Yeah,
you feel like you're right at pace, or we should,
for the current budget year,
yeah,
yeah, most of the funds are under budget,
okay.
all under budget at this point. And we're hoping to get one more additional property tax reimbursement payment, hopefully later this month, fingers crossed. Usually get it in May, but that would be a major help in making sure that we don't go over our budget. If we do, it's gonna be a small number.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, it's just, you know, obviously it's a tough pill to swallow when you see, you know, a deficit, but I mean, understanding what's in front of us, mushrooms.
No.
Okay. We don't need to do anything on that, that was just a.
Just presentation FYI. We will approve that in June.
Okay, sanitary sewer state revolving fund discussion.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. Bill Etzler from Avonmarsh is here to introduce himself and discuss the state revolving loan fund projects. He will be our main point of contact and the lead engineer on the project. We'll be talking a little bit about the project in more detail, the bidding process and construction estimates. Bill Etzler.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just to give you a very brief update, the plans have been submitted to Eagle and they were approved. We have one final review step that will take place next week, and that's to make sure that all the bid documents are in place and that the final cost estimate makes sense to them. The bid process right now, we are looking at advertising for bids at the end of this month and accepting bids at the end of June. We would do a tentative approval of a contract with the low bidder at your council meeting in July. And then we will have to wait about 60 days for Eagle to do final paperwork and approve the contract and the contract amount. And I would anticipate right now that once we get contract signed, that we will begin probably sometime late September, early October. We've tried to make sure that the project fits within a reasonable budget for the community, because we know how that impacts the rate structure for your citizens. And so we've endeavored to get as much work done in this project as we possibly can and still maintain a reasonable rate increase for everybody. Be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
You're gonna be on for a while. That's good.
Yeah, it's been, just from our perspective as engineers, it's been very challenging. I'm sure you know all the back history. Brandon contacted us in February, and we tried to get Eagle to give us some additional time, because typically a project of this size and scale would take anywhere from 6 months to a year to actually put together. Fortunately, the previous engineer had done a lot of the groundwork, which was very helpful, and they provided that to us. But it was still a monumental task. I've never put a project together of this size and scope in 2 months. Actually, it was a little less than 2 months. But I think on the other side, Eagle has been frustrated with progress that's been made in the community, and from recent conversations with them, they're pretty happy right now with the progress that you've made. And thanks to Brandon's assistance and cooperation, and the rest of the staff, we've been able to get this done. So the next step, of course, is hopefully we get bids that are within reason, and we'll be able to get this project rolling. And I would anticipate, I didn't address that, this project is probably going to take about a year. It may move quicker depending on, obviously, how busy the contractor is, how available materials are. But right now, that's what we're projecting, that completion will be at the end of October next year.
Brandon, do you have anything to add or anything?
What's that?
Anything to add?
Nope. Yeah, I think things are moving along well at this point.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Been enjoyable working with you.
Lawn mowing bids.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. The city put out a request for proposals for lawn maintenance. The current contract expires at the end of June and is based on our budget year. This is a 3-year contract beginning July 1st of this year and expiring on June 30th, 2027. The city received a number of bids, we got 7, with Triple E lawn and snow removal being the low bidder at a total cost of $86,610 over the life of the contract. The second lowest bidder was Tiger Lawn Care LLC at $90,000 for the current budget year. The city's paying $33,835 with O'Rourke Lawn Care. Triple E does the mowing and trimming for 2 cemeteries, the Cemetery of Reading. It has experience mowing parks and other properties in the city of Allen. We did reach out to get a reference from the city of Reading. It was a good reference. In your packet, you have a detailed bid tabulation with every year broken down from all the bidders. Yeah, are there any questions?
No, I do like the fact that, obviously with the issues that we've had with the cemetery and some of that stuff, that you have the experience, and obviously talk to them about all that stuff, so we don't have disgruntled citizens coming in on that, so. Having that experience is,
And I think the second low bidder would do a good job as well. They probably don't have the manpower that the other company does. Yeah, that'd be another concern.
yeah, I think the tributes the way to go.
Second, they're used to do our tree work here, cutting trees down and such. He was a good guy, but, he's one man band of those lines.
Any other questions? Motion in which direction to go?
I would make a motion that we go with the triple E lawn and snow removal.
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The Michigan Grant, Resolution 24-5-4.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. Sedum Fellow Patrick Burke has been working on a grant through the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, known as MISTA. It's a combined neighborhood program for the construction of a new playground system at Kiwanis Park. The project is titled Kiwanis Park Playground Development Project. The project is listed in the city of Bronson, it's recently updated Parks and Rec Master Plan, and it will bring life to an underutilized park, bringing tremendous benefit to the community. We recently took out slide at that park as it's very non-compliant with current safety regulations. We did remove that last week after we had a couple of companies come and look at the space and talk to us about new equipment. The grant provides up to $75,000 in funds with no local match to the city. He's been working with a couple of playground companies to come up with a design. Not one today that they think they can provide a bit of a bigger structure for us for the money. So, in your packet is a resolution of support, which is necessary in order to apply for this grant. Patrick, do you have anything you want to add on this?
No, we'll get this grant application at the end of the month. Yeah, it'll bring life to Kiwanis Park. Safety surface, order, large play structure, we'll pick up personal equipment, so we can see who's stored them. The swing system would stay, the springers would probably go into the protected play area. But those could be bumped into the grass without an issue if we wanted to add more playground pieces in the future. Some other grants that are available.
And this is just the playground equipment itself, just the southern portion of Kiwanis Park.
Right, yeah, so they portion where the swings are. Okay. So it'll add on to that and make a dedicated play area.
Nice. Anybody else? So we need to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that-
Support on that, correct?
Yeah. We need a motion to support, right?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 24-5-4.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Marijuana regulations discussion.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. When council previously discussed recreational marijuana, council had requested more information about the law. In your packet is a presentation slideshow, medical and recreational marijuana put on by an attorney from Warner Norcross and Judd that gives a good overview. There's also a report that discusses recreational marijuana for municipalities, sort of a 5-year review of the program. So, some of the big questions are gonna be, what type of facilities do you want to allow? We've got growers, processors, retail provisioning stores, secure transport, which would transport cannabis between licensed facilities, and safety compliance facility. There's also a couple other things like consumption establishment, which are pretty uncommon. I think there's maybe one or two in the state so far. Yeah, so that's kind of your 5 to 6 there. The other question would be, do you want to place a limit on the number of stores or facilities? If so, how many? Some of the webinars I've seen to avoid litigation, they really stress not putting a number on it. If you can limit it in zoning, it's probably the best approach. Allow it in certain zoning, in certain areas, sort of a overlay to the current usage perhaps in zoning. So yeah, if you're gonna do a limited number, like I said, you open yourself up to lawsuits because there's gonna be losers in some cases that don't get a license. If you're gonna do it, it has to be a competitive, consistent, and fair process. You don't want them to be able to argue it was arbitrary or capricious. In that process, you have to choose the applicant that you are most likely to comply with the rules and regulations. The real estate piece is, say you allow as many as they want to do. Those that don't make it, not all of them will make it likely, but those properties will be invested in. Real estate is one of their largest costs when they try to do facility. So they would be looking at commercial areas, offering more areas in town, would open it up more to local companies to invest in lower cost properties that are available here versus other cities. Things like that. Some of them suggest doing a council slash or joint council planning commission meeting with city council. That might be helpful. So if you're looking at zoning, making sure that both boards are on the same page as to what the planning commission needs to look at. Mentioned zoning overlays. You can make it non-residential lots on East 12, Madison Street, or others. And then another thing we need to think about is separation distances. What you want to have for distances between churches, schools. Some include daycares.
So that is stuff that we can decide?
Yes.
That's not regulated by the state as far as what you have to have as distances?
Were you able to find any state laws that put required distances in them?
Well, it was originally 1,000 feet, Chuck. There's a minimum, the state has a minimum for schools and churches. Beyond that, you're on your local.
So we can craft it, we can make. Okay.
So there's a lot, there's gotta be, I guess the question is, where do you even begin? You know, there's so much to.
Well, I mean, again, having the public hearing, right, and making sure that, unfortunately, I think we're late to the party. I mean, it is what it is. We've got a lot of them that are already saturated to the east of us, to the west of us. Indiana's probably not far off from being legalized on that, so you're not gonna get that traffic coming up here. Ohio already is. But, just like you said, the real estate is a pro to me that, I mean, and I think kind of follow what Super Q not putting a limit on it because I believe the saturation of the market already is going to put that limit on it for us. As far as you're not gonna want 30 people coming into town putting those in when you can go 15 minutes either direction.
Yeah, doesn't.
Correct. So
Either
again,
direction.
that's kind of how I feel on not putting a number on it because I believe the saturation of that.
I agree.
I did, talk to Brittany over in Quincy, and, I know one of the concerns was the, possible crime or whatever with that. They're not seeing any uptick over there, they're not seeing any of that. That's, yeah, and again, it's, if anybody read, WTVB this morning, when the city of Coldwater went to, their council meeting a month ago, they had a huge deficit on there, and now they've got a $5,000 surplus or whatever it is, and they were using $670,000 of proceeds to go back into some of these other funds. So again, when we talk about a $300,000 deficit, this is something that we can throw into some of these other funds to help, support that and to where we're not digging into fund balances. So I think it's something to bring back in front of the community, to bring up these points and see what kind of traction there is. And I think that's where we're at this point. I mean, there's a lot of information out there. Exactly what you just said right there, that can be brought up and see what kind of traction there is.
No sense going any farther until we get the public perception.
Total agreement.
So from what I read about Indiana, it doesn't seem too likely that they're gonna adopt recreation anytime soon. That was just kind of since I got from my research.
Now, do we know what, like the townships and stuff like that, because I mean, we're losing out on a grocery store that's going outside city limits. So none of that revenue, tax revenue, anything else is benefiting us. So again, if some of the local townships are for this and they put them just on the outskirts of the city limits, that could affect us as well. So, I mean, I definitely think it's worth discussion to have a public hearing, bring more of this information out to these people.
I was gonna add that a number of communities don't really put this in the budget because they have no idea what kind of revenue they might get. So
Right.
that would be why at the end of the budget year we're adding.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we could possibly do in the future as well, but I can understand.
So I think, yeah, obviously having the public hearing first, but I think you also have a lot of things to think about. The big thing being, do you want to allow them, what type of facilities do you want to allow? And all those questions that go into getting set up.
Now, do we, as a group, perspective, like, is it a benefit to us to kind of think about what we are thinking about, and then take it to the public hearing, and say, look, this is what we're thinking, we're not gonna cap on it, we're only gonna allow grow facilities, only distribute whatever that is, and then open it up to the public hearing, and say, look, here's what we're thinking, here's our reasons why, and then get public support, or do we leave it up to them to kind of give us feedback before we decide which direction to go?
I mean, they got questions that help to have some answers, a little bit.
I think it all boils down, last time we saw it, it was definite, people in the community were not interested. So we might as well start there. And then once you get their input, then we can sit down, have a workshop and see where we go from here.
Not only think we need to inform the public, so we need to put together some kind of board that says, here's your type of facilities.
Yeah.
Here's some of the requirements that we have to meet in putting and provide some of that information back to them, because, I mean, you could have people for it that are not understanding what all the rules and regulations are. So I think we need to kind of put something together that kind of explains what's happening, that also tells them what kind of potential revenues could come back to the city.
That's why I say we need to have a little bit of some information, so the question comes to us, that we got something.
So I think our first thing is probably to sit down and come up with an informational packet that will give them information to help answer those questions.
Agreed. So workshop to kind of set a standard for where we.
I think
So,
so.
you know, workshop doesn't have
Yeah.
to be open to the public. But I mean, does it have to be a council meeting, or can it just be a public session where we're having a workshop, and if they want to come and talk to them, they can?
You can have a workshop as long as the agenda says that you have made no decisions at the meeting. The whole purpose of the meeting is simply to share information, and it's open to the public.
Yeah.
You can do
Well,
that.
that's what I'm thinking, is something where we can sit down as a team, kind of put together information, and if people want to come and offer information.
Brandon's collected some good information for you, and there's some other things I just was able to glance at it. I believe there's a state website that says how many distributors are, how many grow operations, how many testing operations, all that. I believe there's a state website that tells you. And what you're gonna find, I think, is the distribution stores we go in, that's by far number one. Grow operations are second. The other categories, there's very few. The chances of those moving here are fairly minimal because there's already those established other places and they meet the needs for the state at this point. So you're basically looking at either a sales operation or a grow operation. That's not to say that somebody else might have to come here.
But it's all good information to have,
Mhm.
because this is all information we're gonna have to give to the public. And as Nat has said before, there's 5 of us representing 2,200 people in making decisions. Their input is crucial to what we do.
So I think the next action is to set up that workshop to go over that.
Okay. I will send some dates out. You can let me know what time is work best. Bill, yeah, get that scheduled. You wanna go 2 weeks out?
That puts us at Memorial Day.
Yeah.
It's not far off.
Okay, mural artist contract.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. Sorry. Stephen Fellow Bird has, well, actually, the Sedum group for the state has provided the city with a grant of $10,000 to use towards public art projects. The grant intention was for the Sedum Fellow to manage this project from beginning to end. Patrick has been working with a local artist, First Place Finishing, and the artist has been working on a design. The location will be next to the current Bronson mural downtown on the side of Inside on Health. Feature Gladiola's image of Bronson from the 1940s, the one that's hanging in the hallway here. The artist has said that they'd like to come to the food truck rally to get input from residents while they're there on the design. So the quote is a total of $8,952 for the project. In your packet is the estimate and the proposed contract for the artist. There will be a separate contract with the building owner as far as contract, making sure that's allowed to stay on the building for a certain number of years. We'll bring that back at a later meeting. The artist is here to
Evening, everybody. My name is Travis Klinger. This is my partner, Katie Kleinsmith. We represent First Place Finishing. This is merely a two-person business. We both specialize in specific artistry. Could we turn the lights down to help with the projection? We specialize in artistry more than anything else as a paint business. This has kind of developed over the years between us as this business has grown. Brandon reached out. Brandon's a former contact and link of mine through other things related to what you guys do. And I was told that you guys were looking for this. We talked last fall about this idea, walked around town a little, got an idea of where things would best be suited for a new mural. We kind of established that where the current mural is would be better suited more than anything, so we could help fill and complete the wall as it is. We had taken in some suggestions and conversations throughout the last few months after the grant was approved, both through the Historical Society, the Branch County Art Guild, and Brandon and Patrick themselves. It was determined through the Historical Society's director, Manel Esch, and a couple Art Guild members that the artistry of advertisements in the past for manufacturers would be something that would be, respected and admired. Manufacturing and industrial work has grown over the years, and many companies have come and gone. I've actually brought a couple renderings for what could go on the wall here. Here's that for you guys. These are actually old advertisements that were used back in, if you look at the H.A. Douglas one, this was actually on the back of National Geographic in 1930. The Bronson Reels ones were both large signage outside of larger outdoor supports facilities, and as well as on the advertising inserts for National Geographic during the 1950s. Douglas Light Sockets, H.A. Douglas Manufacturing was a long-running business here in the area that not only employed many families throughout the decades, but grew and developed, and I believe the building is still in use by a different company at this point. Is that correct?
I'm not sure if that was the original location, but yeah, they're out off of Albert Street.
Okay. We found it important, being as though that this image here is actually hanging on your guys' wall. We found that probably something suitable for the mural itself. Beyond that, Bronson Reels Company was something that was spoken to us for a long time of how that was just an ongoing business, something that was notable nationwide, actually, after doing a little research. Cox and Bronson were known for bait casting more than anything, and it sounds like that's something that many people in the area can remember this place by. Huh?
I still fish with it.
You still fish with the Bronson reel? So I heard that the stainless steel casting reel is something that never died, and it was something that was fun to find out. So we kind of took to each of these industries, both as well as a downtown depiction that was given to us over here that we really adored when we first walked the building here and walked the downtown, and came up with, in the middle, oh, yes, do you want to show them the original picture anyways? So this photo actually, you guys have here hanging up on the other side of the wall outside here. We found it important mostly because there's lots of signage here that identifies long-standing businesses in the area that scattered about your downtown over the years. This still includes, I believe, this is a display of the Opera House originally, or the hotel rather. So being able to put that back up on the wall after the mural across the street kind of died off and faded out throughout the years was important to us too. So the overall project, go ahead. The overall project is a culmination of each of these kind of lined up. The light posts in the middle are actually light posts that were brought to our attention from old photographs from the downtown over the years. These are just an artistic recreation of those. This black, huh?
So much now.
similar style. This black and white recreation of these advertisements in the downtown is simply a mock-up for you guys. What we will do is we'll obviously colorize everything here, but the goal with being able to display this to you guys is show the basic and general outline of what the downtown mural will look like when it's finished. We felt it was important to identify both the manufacturers and their taglines. Especially with the Bronson reels, specifically this year we're all going fishing with Bronson reels, of course, and then the famous Cox and Bronson bait casting and saltwater reels. H.A. Douglas light sockets, we found it important. If you look at the bottom of that photo, it says H.A. Douglas Manufacturing, Bronson, Michigan. That'll likely go across the bottom as well, just to kind of indicate why this is there. If someone may feel a little bit confused as to why there's a large mountainous display on the wall compared to the flatlands that you guys have in the nearby area. The glads that are scattered about the photo are kind of near to us, but they come from Branch County Art Guild members' art, a long-standing art teacher in the area and elementary teacher that retired back in the late 80s. So that was where the inspiration was drawn from those. We felt as though it would be important to color those glads blue, purple, and yellow for obvious reasons, and to kind of give it a little bit of a flourish of color. We are, as Brandon said, we're going to be out here on Friday for the food truck rally and the community kickoff for the summer. We'll have this hanging up on a banner, try to get some feedback from the community, see what everybody thinks of this. We hope that it's well received. We took quite a bit of time to hunt down where and when these manufacturers were at their peak of productivity, and this is what we found. All of these advertisements were nationally publicated, so these that felt important to embolden here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. We have a fair amount of information for you.
Very impressed.
Really? Great, thanks. Thanks.
There's something to add to, because we've talked about is, I think a QR code on the bottom corner of the mural. I'm talking about different companies that can do that. And with that, it'll be a narrated history of each mural. So it'll be interactive in a way too. That would be really cool.
In the area here where the reel is, the bait caster is, we were thinking about maybe plugging in the QR code to help give everybody kind of like where did this come from, why is this here, and give a little background to that. It's not very hard to, I don't want to say paint one in, but it's not very hard to give somebody an ability to scan something and find the information. Most of these things actually have a link to the historical reference of them, so it's easy to find. I think the only other thing that I would speak to is our idea here that the lampposts were kind of a placeholder. We hope to be able to, we try to aim to be under budget for this project in hopes to help be able to facilitate lighting this mural where the lampposts are specifically. Patrick talked about maybe doing that down the road with another project, but giving it some overhead light to kind of highlight this mural and identify, the importance of these things that you guys have had over the years, including the downtown display, would be a benefit to the community itself. So it's easy coming from this way. We're both lifelong Sturgis residents, as my hat shows. When we come from the west.
It's time to take the trash out.
Is it? Oh man, it says so. Coming from the west, it's very easy to get caught up catching the Bronson mural. We'd love to be able to see the entire wall be highlighted and illuminated day and night, for anybody to catch along the way coming from the west side to the east side. So
you're both artists.
Yeah, in our own ways, each in our own ways. I do artistry in a far bigger scale. She's great at doing it in a small scale. But I've been painting for 18 years. I've done it just about on every surface you can imagine. So I think my favorite are cars, but I do like doing the hand-drawn muraling at this point. It's kind of more detailed art than anything else.
This is very impressive.
Thank you. The artistic ability comes naturally to me. The glads that are in the painting are from Eleanor Shaw, who's my grandmother, and she gave me full permission to use any and all.
She was my first grade teacher.
Yeah, I bet she was.
I bet she was. That's what I always said. She did retire in 1989. The Branch Area Art Guild speaks very highly of her. Apparently her artwork is scattered all across your library along the walls. So if you want to see where the inspiration comes from, feel free to just stop into the library and check it out. So.
There's a glad painting in there now. She told me I could go look at, but she's got hundreds in her art room.
So, like we said, we tried to do our best to draw everything we could from the Bronson area and be inspired by that and what was important here in the past and what is important now. And we were glad to be able to be given the opportunity to do this for you guys.
It's just a quick question.
Yeah.
The glads are beautiful. They truly are. I'm just curious, like in the far end picture where it's reliable as the sun.
Yes.
The original picture, did
I can't believe
that you just added the glads in there?
Yes, I just put them in there. It was a tall picture.
Okay.
So to fill the space, I would have had to wash it.
Okay. I'm sorry. Oh, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
It's hanging on the wall over here. That's where we found the inspiration for that one.
How like tall it was to put in this stretch of space that I would like section between those pillars there. So I just wanted to fill in the gap kind of with the glad, and that's why I put that fill in there. And I think
Gotcha. It just seems very large
yeah.
compared to
Yes.
like the rest of the
yes,
picture.
and I felt like there was a lot of people. As a child, I still remember like driving past the glad fields. So I feel like those are more prevalent in people's memories.
Okay.
Spin cast
Also,
rock.
when you see murals throughout the Midwest and around the world,
I think
large
it's just
flowers are very
fantastic.
popular.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
They
Gotcha.
got out of the real business where they got bought up by different people. And True Temper ended up with them for a while, but
So I think our only concerns on our end or things to speak to would be I would hope that there's no hard feelings asking Madison Street Grill and Bar to move their sign a little further down the wall so it doesn't have to get painted over or even up above the mural would be great. The intention would be to seal the wall prior with a clear sealant, concrete clear sealant that would kind of give us a surface to be able to paint on, a canvas if you will, and then thereafter I would seal it over again with a light coating of a clear sealant to give it some guaranteed longevity. That helps us be able to guarantee the mural for 25 to 50 years, no matter what. So we don't want to see it fade out, especially unlike the industries here. So that's all.
my murals are neat.
Oh, they're impressive when you go into a town and see
Yeah.
what that town's history, just a glance tells you.
I've found that each community has a different desire for their murals. Some want to embody what their community was about, or the history of their community. Others want to embody what the community, wraps around as far as their morals or their support system. I've been in Garrett, Indiana. Actually, I work in the area down there a lot, and Garrett, Indiana actually has a very large mural that is an honor to their public service members, their firefighters, and police officers. And it was a very well done mural. It is a very tall mural, put on a very skinny wall. So kudos to that artist for braving the lift and doing all the work from the lift, brushwork and all. So we're aiming to try and match the same height as the Bronson mural here, not go too far above it, if not stay about the same height.
You want to complement it.
Yes, that's the other goal, is to try and complement it. We discussed about trying to maintain the bold industrious color plan that was put into the first mural and kind of fade it out from right to left as we get over there or into the next murals to take away from all the illuminated features that you get in the Douglas light sockets. The advertisement here, and then you get more monochrome, and then even more monochrome, and then the basic black and white down here, as you guys see on the pictures that we provided. Yeah, so I gave a picture to each of them. So it's, like I said, it took a little while for us to come up with the idea, but we were excited to kind of build this piece by piece, and we hope you guys can appreciate it just as much as we have so far.
It's just amazing. I can't paint a wall without getting it wrong, let alone trying to draw some.
That's what I say.
They have no talent present, so it's really
So you got more people than you two that be working on it?
So we've reached out to the Branch Area Art Guild, and we found that there are more than a couple volunteers that were interested in joining us. We wanted to make sure that community members here were able to put their hands on the work and leave a signature, a local signature on it too. So that was a big deal to me. Patrick and I had discussed communicating with the schools in the area. It sounds like based on the curriculum and the timing, students would be the easiest thing to capture. Talking about the CTE program, it was a big deal to me. I did building trades in school when I was in high school, and it kind of felt daunting to think that the only thing I could paint was gray or white on a wall on the inside of a house or the siding on an exterior. And I've come this far. I've done it on cars, boats, planes, jets, cat vehicles, and now I get to do it in the most artistic way possible by providing murals. So this is for me a culmination of what painting can be as a contractor, and not just the plain grays and whites that we see often. So
I like that idea though. Had somebody in the community that was good enough to hands on a little bit.
we'd love to hopefully see
That'd be
Mrs.
nice.
Shaw out here to be able to put a little on the wall and provide a little
Absolutely.
signature for the permanency in her later years here. So
Yeah, Grandma said, I'm gonna get tired. So I'll bring you a
That would
chair."
be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
She's open to trying things. She's so adventurous.
yeah, and we have a local artist here in the community that's actually worked on murals in the Sturgis area and in the Coldwater area both. That is excited and happy to be able to help and facilitate this project. So it's fun to be able to know these people and have those connections and provide that opportunity.
Sounds exciting.
I will actually leave the business cards here for you guys, just in case you have any questions. Feel free to call us. If you have a mural that you want in your house, we did one in someone's closet this last year. Put a house plant mural in someone's bedroom closet. It's kind of an interesting take, but if it wasn't known from you guys, the Jackson area actually is having a nationally known artist come out and paint some very significant silos over in the Jackson area. There's 3 really large silos. I don't know why they're doing that or any kind of way, but they're bringing someone in to do a community art project there too. So it was exciting to see that a small local town nearby wanted to continue on with the muraling to the fullest extent with this.
Some of us that are of the age saw a lot of barns painted with mail pouch and
So-
gold medal flower.
It's interesting you say the gold medal flower thing. 2 blocks down here on the back wall, there is a former gold medal flower large painted billboard on the back wall that's faded out. There's also a mail pouch tobacco one that's right next to it. It's actually faded out to the point where you can't tell.
There's
But,
one building, they're really close together, on the same side as the library, but closer to the right. And I can't, I'm like, there's a mural in there, but I can't get in there and look at it. It's a little white building close to the tall brick ones. I don't know what it is, but.
painted billboards were consistency back in the 50s and 60s. It was a way to get advertising out without having to go the extent of having all the paper printed off and then scaling a large billboard and gluing it up there for a short period of time only for it to fall apart. So
questions?
So we need to make a motion on this.
Yeah, motion to approve the contract.
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Very good.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thanks.
Bronson area youth program request.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. Since around 2007, the city's provided $3,400 annually in the parks budget for the Bronson area youth program. This is not affiliated with the city's summer park program offered at Douglas Park. The youth program is a 501c3 nonprofit that offers an after-school program, free tutoring, and open recreation time. The program is for students of grades 3 through 5 from 3:30 to 5 p.m. Monday to Thursday. During the school year, they also run a summer program beginning approximately the third week of June, lasting 6 weeks. They provide skill, character building, field trips, bowling, open recreation time, and more for no cost to the students. That program is Monday through Friday, 12 to 3 p.m. In the summer, students go from the city park program to the after-school program.
Thanks.
With our budget being as restricted as it is, I think it's time to reevaluate
Stay for a second.
this financial contribution. After the last few years, we've worked hard to get Byra as self-sufficient as possible, relying a lot less on the city's parks budget. This contribution exceeds the current $3,000 annually that we give to Byra. While this is a really great program, the city's budget continues to be restricted. In your packet is the request letter, along with the budget for the program. Point out that they are currently paying around $2,900 in rent to the school for the space that they use. Any questions?
Yeah, I guess now that Byra's sufficient, do we know how this group is doing? If they're kind of banking on that, I mean, I would hate to see, I understand the restrictions that we have in the community, but I would hate to see, the kids getting out there and, if we can't keep them unoccupied, Steve and his crew's gonna have a little bit more to take care of.
Paint their own murals.
So, I mean, that's the only concern. I mean, I do understand the financial constraint.
It's expanded out so much more from what the virus started.
Well, this is different than Byra.
Oh, this is different, okay.
Yes, this is a different group than Byra. This is the one, because they're doing it at Chicago Street. And, they have that.
Yeah, field trails, bowling.
And I know that you guys are busy trying to.
I mean, I think,
Apologize later, I lived on that for a while.
is it worth talking to Kate at the school and seeing what kind of agreement between the two of us? I mean, if the school starts at 2,900, the 3,400 we put into it basically takes care of that. And, I mean, if the school is willing to cut it in half, yeah, exactly, meet us halfway, it's something that, I think it would be worthwhile discussion with Kate.
It's not like we lost a word with us. See, that whole portion that started from teachers getting together to do the after-school tutoring. And at one time, they did a lot of that right into schools. And it didn't move for different building.
That's direction I needed for now, so I'll reach out to the school and see. It just kind of seems like we're
any staff comments?
Well, we made it through without any severe weather this past week with the tornadoes, which was nice. We had pretty good potential of having some severe weather, but they went north of us. But unfortunately, there's a lot of damage up to the north. I had mentioned earlier that we had a couple high school students doing some little small murals in the police department. They have completed them. They look great. I mean, it's what we expected. I see the high school did post pictures of it today, so I'm going to share that on Facebook and stuff so everybody can kind of see it. And everybody will be able to see it at the open house coming up in June. We did move it back. We were going to do it the 6th, but we did move it back to the 14th from 3 to 6. But we had some scheduling conflicts, so we had to bump it back a week. So, but everybody in the public will be able to see what the kids did. And so we're happy to collaborate with the school and get some local kids in there. So kind of dress it up a little bit too. So, but other than that, starting to get busy because summertime's coming. The better weather. But other than that, things are good. That's all I have. We don't comment. Well, just public or the staff comments.
Feel decent about it. Unfortunately, it'd be probably a month before either one of us know, but so hopefully we go past and move forward there. We can prepare to the plan.
You guys been a pretty good team. License moving up pretty fast, aren't they?
Hopefully they.
You're done now, right? What's that about?
Adam took his second water. He'd like to skip this next round of the exams and then start the
So
wastewater.
he's moving right along too. Good job, guys, good job. Appreciate it.
That's tough.
Take a break.
No, they got things down there to fix and you can shake a stick at.
You got
Just completely unrelated to the project. Ironic that I was here tonight to hear you guys communicate on your ideas of moving forward with regulations in cannabis locally. As a former city commissioner of Sturgis, I went through this process myself about 5 years ago. I can say with experience that there are financial benefits to this without a doubt. There are some headaches. Most of those come with just getting compliance from the businesses, mostly with the facilities themselves. We learned that processing and cultivation facilities do not chase new places very often. Testing facilities are almost non-existent except for a couple of places in the state. Like the attorney said, there's enough here to suit the entire state's needs. The least costly and least the safest business of the 5 is without a doubt secure transport. There's nothing on site. There's nothing required for them to maintain there other than vehicles to move the product from one place to the next, and it never stops at the transport company. And the only business that actually provides you with the excess tax funds that come from the state that they gather over the year is in fact just the retail facility storefronts. So, however many you have times the average has been 48,000. That's what you get. job in seeking out a workshop. Take the time to communicate with the CRA, ask them to either have a representative come in and provide information that maybe you can't gather fast enough, or just ask them for what is a municipal planning packet. That is something that helps the municipalities kind of get the full gamut, all in a nice packet to be able to display to the community, doing a public hearing, to give them all the information that they would need to either satisfy the public's concerns or, support the public's concerns and not move forward. I can say I agree myself, based on financial needs and the financial gains that were possible. The amount of storefronts that it took to reach that annual $400,000 that City of Sturgis gets was a lot. But that's because we have 9 storefronts in the city. I will say that zoning was the best way that we could minimize the overwhelming of the possibility of storefronts just coming in. You guys have schools close enough in 2 different areas to kind of circumvent the issues of being in your downtown area and causing a public concern. And also, at your school, I believe, is not a manufacturing zone or industrial zone, so you guys don't have to worry about those crossing paths. Sticking to your industrial or manufacturing zones is an easy way for us to minimize the impact in the nearby residential areas. So, just some outward comments. I only want to say those to help decide on things and help you guys move forward. I do hope that you guys find some benefit in being able to communicate with your community about it. But I'm neither for nor against you guys moving forward with this. I would say that there's probably a plausibility that the transport company would be interested in your area simply because there's the spread of those based on the list that the attorney has spoken on. That list is publicly available on the CRA's website. Those are spread out into the northern areas of Michigan, the northwestern areas of Michigan, and all along the eastern coast. So there's not much down here to facilitate the southwest area. So there's a possibility there. But again, that does not provide you any tax revenue from that one. We learned that application fees and property taxes were things that paid out tenfold very quick, and that was very helpful. Both of those things were something to think of. I would suggest maybe taking on gathering information from the city of Sturgis and the city of Quincy, Cowatersy, very much larger community than yours, so it's kind of hard to get the scope down to the size you guys are in. But we did a lot of looking other places that matched our size in order to get the most ample amount of proper information to get to our community to speak on. So that's all. Just I want to see the best interest of Bronson. You guys are just as local as Sturgis is to me, so it impacts me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
City manager comments.
Thank you, Mayor Watkins. I just wanted to remind everyone of the open house for the master plan this Friday from 4 to 8 p.m. here at City Hall. I think we're still looking for some volunteers to assist the public as they come in, welcome them, and possibly help out in the room here with some maps. And also possibly assist in encouraging residents of the food trucks to come over and participate in the input session while they're here. We want to do these events at the same time so we can push some foot traffic into here to get some good positive feedback. From a previous agenda a few months ago, Joe was able to find a good used forklift for $14,000 in very good shape. Had a lot of parts replaced along with propane. It was delivered on Friday, and they were able to get a pallet down that was kind of a safety issue and able to do it without anybody getting hurt. So props for that to Joe, and that's all I have.
Council comment. Rick?
Yeah, a question about the cemetery. Our Legion puts out flags flags every year at all the cemeteries. American Legion does, all our local. And their funds are getting very tight, very small. Last year, on Memorial Day morning, before we had that down here, somebody pulled all the flags through in the trash can.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah, there was a
luckily
bunch
they
of
got
them.
caught early enough in the morning, were able to get dispersed as much as they could to replacing flags. So they've been, a lot of the townships are giving a little money to help flags for like their different townships. Like St. They've been in St. Mary's, I think they were talking to them about just giving a little, that would be just for that. And I was wondering if there's any way we could just, a handful of money for Bronson Cemetery to just help out with the cost of the flags that get worn, they lose, thrown away, and just kind of help out with that, you know. And we could help them out, and since the rules are starting to help out, maybe we could do for our cemetery too, which would only be for our cemetery.
Sad part is that why aren't they holding some fundraising for this, because they should be able to get money really easy for that.
Which we need to, we could get them going. And another thing, I was talked to about going into Ryan's school out there, back there to the diamonds, because there's some really deep cold ruts. Some people wondering maybe they could just get a couple of them filled sometime. Would that be something? Would that be school? That's the school. Going back there.
I know in the past, the road commission spruced it up here every now and then. They'd come in and would scrape it with a truck and smooth it out. So I don't know if that's still an option for them, but I know they have done that in the past just as a kind of a community service. So
Just, all this rain, it's just getting out of
Trust me, I know.
road.
That's what my
You
understanding. You understand, I don't know about that.
hey, your field's bad too. I just went out there yesterday.
Yeah.
Horrible.
It's horrible.
It is. Pretty bad. That was brought to my attention too.
There's nothing we can do with that, I mean, on the council or agenda, we can't do.
It's a small amount, you could direct me to, I would think.
Spend
See if you got anything in the budget.
Yeah, I'd look into it.
You have some discretion.
Yes,
Yep.
look into it, please.
I think if the council would actually,
Yeah.
His discretion.
It's good. That's it.
You have anything else? You good?
No, I'm good.
Larry?
Okay, congratulations to the seniors, because most of them are going to be retiring prior to our next meeting. So kudos to them. Sports have made Bronson look good. Thank them. The kids are gonna be out of school first part of the June there. The budget. Thanks to all the department heads and Patrick and Brandon. I know it shows we got a $300,000 deficit, but we've shown a deficit every year since Brandon's been here, and we have to have one. So kudos to him. Let's just keep up the good work. Steve, your open house coming up, wish the best for you. The public needs to see what you guys have done, which is phenomenal.
Steve?
Yeah.
Oh, you done one.
And Joe for the forklift, that's good. Joe's done us good. He got the bucket truck, he's got the forklift, and they're getting stuff done. Jerry, from the mess you walked into, you guys are really busting tail, thank you. And we don't have to worry whether you passed or not. So, best of luck and thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Eckhart?
I always have a hard time coming up with things after those two talk, but I do echo their sentiments. Thank you, Steve and Jerry and Bill and Patrick, Brandon and Chuck, and everyone else that came and spoke tonight. Travis and his partner in the mural presentation, I thought that was really awesome. I like their idea of fading from the color one on the right clear down to the black and white. I think that's a really cool way to look at it. Guess that's it.
What?
I just wanna thank the entire team here for what they do. You know, not one person makes the city happen. It's the team that we have that really gets it put together. Congratulations, you know, great job on your tests and keep going. That's all we got.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say anything that anybody else has said at this point. You know, Patrick, I appreciate all the hard work and feasibility these grants for the parks and the mural and stuff like that. The added benefit of having you on board, being able to assist Brandon is well worth it, and appreciate everything that you do, so thank you very much. And again, thanks to everyone on staff, you guys do a great job. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I think a motion to adjourn.
Nice work.
All in favor?
Aye.